Welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast, dedicated to highlighting the good right here in Marionville, Missouri. Summer schedules are here, and depending on the day, it may not feel like summer all the time, but vacations, summer school, garden, and flower planting, it's all happening. So, my new co host, Abby Carlton, is even on vacation this week. So, I'm running solo with my awesome guest today, Evie Hood. Evie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, Evie. So as soon as I said flowers and garden, I know you can kind of relate, but I want you to, before we dig into our topic today, just tell us a little bit about you and your family and what you do for work.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Evie. We were new to Marionville about, I guess it's been about 6 years ago now. I remarried in 23 and we were looking for a house. And oddly, we both found this wonderful old house that we're going to talk about today. But yeah, just me. I've got four little ones ranging from, I've got one that just graduated with her associates and one that just graduated kindergarten. So we've
Awesome.
got a span.
You do. You have a span. That's awesome. And so and that kind of leads into the house as well because you needed a lot of space. But first, tell everybody what you do for work.
Yeah, so currently I'm wearing my walking advertisement
Yes.
today, my sweats.
Her campaign.
Yep. I work for an organization called Her Campaign that what we do is aftercare for survivors of human trafficking. And
Mm,
what we're doing right now is actually really focusing on building um, pretty much a higher intensity program for those immediate 8 weeks when somebody very first leaves
mm.
the life or their trafficker and they need crisis stabilization. So it's been a lot of work. I do that. And I still also have my coaching business on the side as well. I do personal life coaching and meditative prayer practices with individuals as well.
Awesome. And so we know each other as neighbors. And then also for a season, you rented office space here inside of
hmm
Central Place to get your local practice up and going. So we've talked a little bit about the house that you bought here in Marionville, and that's really going to be a focus of what we're talking about today. But you guys bought the big blue house on Washington. I don't know, people probably refer to it as that.
hmm
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, like I said, we were just looking for a house with space.
Yeah.
And you go around, and the reality is, I've never loved your basic kind of cookie cutter brick house. I never have. I've
Hmm.
always loved old homes. So, this one I'd walked by. Of course, it's right in the middle of town. So, you'd go for walks with the kids. I'd seen it many times over the years. And finally, one day when I started really actively looking for a house, we stopped in, and it was in a situation. But the structure, again, like the size of the rooms and things like that, it was perfect for a
Yeah.
house full of kiddos and grandkids. It's got the big four bedrooms upstairs, downstairs extra rooms, bathrooms, and huge spaces to gather. So even though it needed a lot of deconstructing before we could reconstruct it, the spaces were incredible. So that's really what drew us to it was we could gather our family and our extended family and have
Yeah.
room for everything.
So let's talk about that for a minute. The fixer upper that you bought, how did you see the vision? I mean, could you see the end results or did you kind of have to have some help with that?
Yeah, I'm kind of a compulsive visionary. It's kind of my
Okay.
role. So it gets me into a little bit of trouble because hence old house, a lot of work. So yeah,
Yeah.
right away I could see how I would do things, how we'd open stuff up, make it beautiful. Um, the downside, it was funny. So we had neighbors around us, and one right across the street specifically has lived there for years. And she liked to tell a story about their pet pig that would run around and
Hmm.
get loose, things like that. So again, no shade on the sweet people who I'm sure lived there and loved it over the years, but it was bad. The floors were just soaked and nasty. It just needed so much. So I mean, all the way down the hardwoods, everything had to get torn out of that house. It was a lot, but it was. I mean, you walk into it, and again, that big arched openings, and I have one of those huge tables that seats 8 to 12 people. So of
Yeah.
course I'm like, oh, my table will fit here.
Yes.
The kids, all the furniture will fit here, and this flows so well. And look at all the cooking and gathering we could do in the kitchen, because again, the spaces were beautiful.
Yeah.
It just, yeah. So I could see it, but
It needed a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Hopefully, you didn't do
Mhm.
too much bleeding in the process. Did
Mhm.
you bang any
A
fingers?
few times, yeah.
Okay.
hmm
I didn't hear him across the street. So that's probably a good thing. But so did you have you along the way learned anything about the history of your house other than the pet pig that we heard, whether the tales of in the neighborhood?
hmm Yeah, it's really fun. So again, neighbors, librarians, things like that do stop by because this house has a lot of history. Apparently, it is one of two of the oldest houses in the city of Marionville.
Oh.
What's been a lot of fun, there's I cannot think of her name. Anyways, there's a sweet woman who is here from Marionville, and she talks about what it was like when her grandparents owned the house. And she's pretty elderly
Mm,
now. So when you think back, even 80 years ago, when she was talking about there was no other houses around it, there was a
right.
barn over here, and there was things like that. And so it's been really neat to know. And when you looked it up, somebody posted actually on Marionville's Facebook with the story. I can't remember the last name, but again, it was somebody that was local to business, to building Marionville, that built that house to be
Hmm.
their first place as they established the city.
Wow, that's so cool. It is that classic style with the four square the bedrooms up at all the corners and the
Hmm.
staircase coming through the middle. And, imagine what it took like to build that originally. I look at all of the things that, we have modern technology to help us.
Hmm.
And, that, it was a lot more hands-on, the old way of doing things. And that's pretty exciting when I've gotten to watch you guys take it from what you bought it as to turn it
Hmm.
into, and then enter the fact that you guys were nominated for the Marionville Curb Appeal Award. Tell us about that experience. What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. Marionville, you're so cool. So here's the thing. Like I said, we're newer to the city. I didn't grow up here. My kids have, to an extent, they've gone to
Hmm.
school. I had one graduate here. Um, But to do that level of work, including the outdoors, we had to take out fences and trees and all kinds of stuff. And the yard honestly was full of trash. It was a
Yeah.
mess. It was a lot. Um, and I just love to landscape, so just doing the things that you love and beautifying your space to make it enjoyable for you and actually have the city just appreciate it because they
Hmm.
appreciate the architecture, they appreciate the history of our town.
Hmm.
And so just the honor, first of all, just being included in a small community is beautiful. And I love that. I love our community. I mean, what Barbara and Kathy do all the time, even the little sweet things that they honor around the city is just incredible. I've never
Yeah.
been in a community really like this. So
So,
that meant a lot to
so
us.
did you like get a knock on the door one day or what happened?
Yeah. Okay. So both times, ladies, we had just returned from this ranch where we ride side by sides at. So we're dirty. We've been camping all weekend. We're like bloated from not sleeping well. And those are the two times we got a knock on the door says, "Hey, you're nominated," which of course felt like meant the world to us. But then when the town voted was a huge deal. But again, we got just the sweet knock on the door and it was
Hmm.
so surprising. You guys, thank you for all the sponsors and stuff. I never ever expected. I just thought we'd get the sweet sign in the yard that just was like,
Yeah.
oh, they appreciate the work we've done. But the gifts, the gift cards, things like that, it was just incredible.
Yeah. That's so great. So not only did you win the monthly award, but you also won the House of the Year, right?
Yes.
So what was that like?
Oh, I mean, that's amazing because we live in a town where so many people do a lot of work to keep their spaces beautiful. They
Hmm.
really do value that. So again, thank you, sweet Marionville. It was a big deal to receive that. And honestly, you guys will notice I just now took that sign out of the yard. I kept it up because the house is for sale now. So if
Yes.
anybody's looking for a beautiful old house that's had a lot of work done, but I kept it up to be like, hey, look,
Yes.
home of the year.
Well, I was actually thinking about that when I was preparing for this show, and it's not only has it given you some kind of fun bragging
Mhm.
rights, but for the next generations. Like this home was voted as home of the year for, was it 2025? Or
I
was
think
it 2 years ago?
24. I think it was
24,
2 years ago. Mhm.
2024. So what a neat thing to add to the history of the home that you're in. And
Yeah.
like you said, you're selling that house, so the new owners, whoever they may be able to take that and, be able to be proud of that as well. I just wanted to thank again, like you said, Barbara Neely and Kathy Urschel for managing and coming up, brainstorming, executing all the things, the Curb Appeal Awards, and that they most recently made a post on the Marionville Pride Facebook page that I just want to share. And it said, "There's so much beauty right here in our own little town, from historic homes, well-kept lawns, strategically placed flowers, and other plantings, homes and buildings getting facelifts, new homes being built, our beautiful parks, et cetera, et cetera." And I think that says it so well that there is so much diversity as
Hmm.
far as old and new and kept up and organized, and the carefree landscaping. Everybody's got their own way of doing things, and really the Curb Appeal Awards really takes that and celebrates it and gives people kind of something to look forward to see, like, are other people noticing this? And it's been fun every month when they post them on Facebook to see places maybe on a road that you don't drive on, that, oh man, look at that cute house or look at what they've done. And I really appreciate that about them. And so the nominations for the May 2026 Curb Appeal Awards deadline is actually this Friday. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes for everybody so you can go there. You answer a few quick questions so they can validate, like, who you are and who you're nominating. And then actually extra question this year they've added on there for like I kind of wanting to know more about what are you looking for? What might you else want us to do? And I really appreciate that because they're kind of forward thinking a little bit on that. So the winner for May will be awarded sometime next week. So this is your time. We're plugging this now. So that last ditch effort for May to get a nomination in, you can go to the link that I put in the show notes, like I said, and share maybe a neighbor that you've seen or a house that you're familiar with that it's like, oh, look at what they've been doing or how well they've been manicuring it. And, our seasons have we have had cold and hot days already. So I know landscaping for me has been all over the place already this year. So, and then rain can set you back on the lawn mowing and things like that. But, it's just such a great way through the Curb Appeal Awards to promote the pride, the good caretaking, the restoration, and encourage curb appeal in our community. I just want to say thank you again to Barbara and Kathy, as well as the many sponsors that make this
Yes.
award possible. Was your house one of the ones that you got a drawing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
let's talk about that.
okay, so we know that Barbara, does beautiful photography. We all have stuff,
Yes.
probably of our kids playing sports and stuff from Barbara. She did this, it's like a watercolor painting that she created with some software that she's got of our house that we cherish. We've hung it up in our dining room and it's so
Mm.
special. I mean, it's incredible. So the care that has gone into this has been absolutely amazing.
That is great.
Hmm.
Well, and I just want to say thank you to you guys as well for taking the effort because, I was talking to somebody as we've been renovating buildings, and it's like, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? It does take
Yeah.
work, it does take energy, it takes intentionality, but not everything costs, So cleaning up a yard,
Hmm.
trimming trees, trimming bushes, all of that can be done just with scissors or clippers or, whatever you might have.
Right.
So we can all put an effort in. And then for some of those that need more elbow grease, thank you to everybody who's working on those because it is fun to see the transformation happen. And Evie, I think you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, stick with me. We've got a little bit more news I want to cover, but first I have a couple of commercials. This episode of the Good Place Marionville podcast is sponsored by the Bank of Billings. At Bank of Billings, banking is personal. It's a place where your banker knows your name, your business, and the community that you care about. Stop by and see the difference a hometown bank can make. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. This episode is also sponsored by visitmarionville.com. Marionville is full of amazing businesses. Make sure customers can find yours. Visitmarionville.com connects the community with local businesses, restaurants, and services all in one place. So get listed, get seen, and get local. Go to visitmarionville.com today and learn something new about Marionville. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show because there is a calendar feature that I want to encourage all of you to check out. So some of the things coming up really quickly. May 21st, which is Thursday, is Marionville Business Connect right here at Central Place at 4 o'clock. It is our last one before a summer break, so I would love to see everybody come and spend time together. Evie, you've been at those meetings. You know
Hmm.
how great it is to get together with local businesses and find out what's going on. May 26th, the Bank of Billings is having a customer appreciation lunch in Billings. May 28th is an open house celebrating at Smart Insurance from 2 to 4, the retirement of Randy and Gail Smart, and looking to the next generation, next chapter. So, what a great time for the community to come out.
Yes.
They've been here for decades in our community. Thursday evenings, we have the new market at Alice Irene's with baked goods, pork, and so much more. I have decided this week, I put this on my calendar as a repeat because you get to Thursday afternoon and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I forgot that's going on.
Mm.
So I put it on there in my calendar so I would remember
Oh,
every
love
week
that.
from 3 to 7. I haven't been there yet. Evie, have you been there yet?
I have not.
Okay, so they've just been, I think this might be their second or third week. So I encourage everybody to go check it out. And again, another way to shop local. May 29th and 30th at the Assembly of God Church is at their annual Rummage sale and the Apple Fest fundraiser, where they'll be doing walking tacos during the lunch hour to raise money for Apple Fest. And speaking of Apple Fest, the team is working hard to get ready for this year. So their meetings are monthly at 6:30 on the third Monday of each month at the Assembly of God Church. And I encourage everyone to think about getting involved and see how you can participate. But at least you can go get walking tacos at the Assembly of God Church during the Rummage sale. And I just want to highlight that the White Squirrel Garden, Community Garden, is growing strong. I am sure that they're thankful for the rain that we got this week. I know Amber has a little relief from watering, and she can always use more volunteers to help with watering and keeping track of the plants and how things are going. And there is an option there for if you end up with extra produce in your garden that you can share it. This is a great place to share it. And speaking of that, I'm going to get off of the calendar for just a second. I want to give a huge shout out. I posted a picture the other day of the food pantry at City Hall
Hmm.
empty. I think it had one bag, one little bottle of like garlic salt or something
Yep.
in it. By mid afternoon, it was overflowing.
That's
And I
amazing.
just am so thrilled that that happened so quickly. Thank you to everybody who's showed up, shared things. And I just want to encourage you to do that. With all of the stuff that's going on in the economy, now is a really incredibly important time to share with our neighbors. And this is just a simple way to do that. Thank you for the people that even were like, I have perishables. How do I get it so that, and people were agreeing to meet up with people and share what they had. And
Wow.
that just really blessed my soul. And I just hope that we keep doing that all summer long, especially with kids out of school and not having necessarily some of the programs in place that they take advantage of during the school year. Okay, June 27th is the 250th birthday for our country. So we're having the patriotic picnic at the park starting at 4 o'clock. And I know every year, Evie, for us, highlight is fireworks, but it's that plus so much more this year. And they are looking for volunteers to get involved. And if you are an able bodied adult, specifically without children, and I think the reason for that is they want to make sure you get to participate with your families and not be so busy doing, volunteering that you don't get to participate. But all kinds of help is needed from running games to serving food. You can do, grab your friends or your neighbors or your Sunday school class and whatever it might be and come together and decide that this is a way that you're going to serve the community through volunteering. And I'm going to give you a phone number in the show link in the show notes if you are interested in volunteering. But it's going to be things like as simple as tying kids together for three-legged race. And no, the big brothers cannot do that job. No, they might want to, right? Let's tie some kids together. But there's going to be sack races and cornhole, things to monitor like that, and the dunk tank, as well as just cheering people on and helping them to have fun. There will be some setup needs and also help with the getting the food facilitated. I know all of the food has been donated, so it is a free hot dog dinner for families, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm so grateful for all the people that have been volunteering, but they need many. Grandma always said, many hands make light work.
Hmm.
So you can call Joanne Lawrence, and I'll put her phone number in the show notes for you. They also are encouraging people to put up flags or to buy flags that the city will put up, and then they will be used by the city year after year. We have a lot of details on the visitmarionville.com website, and that's why I said I'll bring this up again later in the show. This is it. We have a calendar function on the visitmarionville.com website where we try to everybody who is a paid advertiser on there gets to put their events on, but we also put community events on there with details, and I've got that link in there as well for the picnic with all kinds of details to help you make plans and get ready for that day. Evie, thank you so much for being my guest today. And remember, everyone, to go out and nominate for the curb appeals. It's fun to see who gets nominated and what the houses look like and what everybody's efforts are for this year. I also want to say thank you to the Bank of Billings and visit marionville.com for sponsoring this podcast. You could become a sponsor or report good news by emailing me at goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com. Share this podcast with a friend and remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified when each episode releases. Thanks for joining us for the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes out for the good, and together we can celebrate Marionville.